for example, like I'm non-binary, and like every single day I have um I have people telling me that I'm wrong about how I feel, that I'm a girl. No, I'm not. You don't know me. You don't have authority over my identity.
Right. And if somebody told you you were a clown and you have never actually gone into, like, you never went to clown school, you never thought, this is my career, I want to be a clown. You don't necessarily identify as a clown, but if somebody's projecting their thoughts of who you are onto you, there is something very unkind about that. It's the way that also people project onto us what they think maybe our identity religiously is or politically is, or we can have identities in a lot of ways, right? So identities are sometimes things that are things people see and assume about us. And those are part of the way that we have diversity, right? Is the way people use their senses to perceive what you look like, what you smell like. Hey, you smell like a white kid. So like, how do you know, right? But you don't. But we use our senses to identify people, right? Our sight, we usually use that. That's usually the primary one. Sometimes people hear their voices and they assume. When we watch that show, Jubilee, is it called?
Yeah.
And they do a lot of interesting things where they blindfold people and see if people can tell who's who, or can you tell in a group of people who is the straight person, who is the gay person, who is the Black person, who is, and to try and identify that with blindfolds on is fascinating because almost always they get it wrong. And it just goes to show that we have a lot of judgments and prejudices on people for what we think they're supposed to look like and show up as. So you were mentioning, Ziv, that you identify as non-binary, and people tell you that that's not true. So
yeah.
So where is it that you find like you're getting the most backlash?
The internet, just like whenever I say, like, for example, like in a comment or something, like, oh, I'm non-binary, blah blah blah, and I just mention it offhandedly, and then someone like takes the time out of their day to come and tell me that a stranger on the internet who hasn't even seen my face or talked to me, that they know me better than I know myself.
Right. So what I know about you is from babyhood. Can I bring up some babyhood stories? Because I love babyhood stories. Good times. So from babyhood, I think my favorite image of you from babyhood is that. So for those of you who don't know or have never heard stories of how I raised Ziva, I gave Ziva options on clothes. What? I gave you options. I would just put, there was all kinds of clothes. There were boy clothes and girl clothes because clothing is gendered, apparently. I went with the colors that Ziva was attracted to. So even as like a little wee beaner, we'd go in a store and Ziva would get excited about certain colors. So we'd buy, like green corduroy pants that are pretty freaking neutral and different colors that aren't necessarily identified as a certain gender.